hardest part about change in most people's lives is not making the same choice as they did the day before. And the moment you decide to make a different choice or do something differently, that's when you're leaving the known familiar territory. And if the body has been conditioned to be the mind, now the servant is the master. And what happens is, the moment you decide to step into that unknown, the body starts influencing the mind. And here come the programs, because in that place of uncertainty, unpredictability, discomfort, the body is saying, I want to return back to the known because I can't predict the next moment. And it starts influencing the same thoughts. In fact, the thoughts in our head, the chatter in our head gets louder. And if we respond to that same thought in the same way, the same thought leads to the same choice. The same choice leads to the same behavior. The same behavior creates the same experience. And the same experience then will produce the same familiar feeling. And people say this feels right. No, it feels familiar. You're returning back to the known, and the door closes to the unknown. Are you with me still? So then, it makes sense then that in order to change then, you have to be greater than your body that has been conditioned to be the mind. That you have to demonstrate a will that's greater than those programs, that you have to recondition your body to a new mind. But then most people get up in the morning and they're beginning to think about all the experiences they want in their life, and they can predict the feeling of every one of those experiences. So they start looking forward to the same familiar future based on the same familiar past. So the thought leads to the same choice leads to the same behavior produces the same experience produces the same emotion, and it reaffirms the same identity, which influences the same thought. And if you wake up every morning and you follow the same exact routine, we could say that the moment you wake up in the morning and you start thinking about going to the kitchen and getting a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, you're placing your attention on the future, a place in consciousness outside of you. So there's one point of consciousness, you, and you have another thought in your mind going to the kitchen and getting a cup of coffee or tea. A second point of consciousness. And when you begin to hold your attention on that, your body begins to follow your mind to a known. Yes or no? And as you move through space, you experience time. It takes you time to get over there. So then if you keep doing this every single day, and then you take a shower, and then you drive to work the same way, and you do the exact same things, your body over time will go on autopilot. And now it's dragging you into a predictable future based on what you did in the past. And now you've lost your free will to that program, and you're headed for a genetic destiny. So then, if you're waking up in the morning and you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then we could say then, for the most part, you're left with the memories of the past. And if you believe this idea, if your brain is a record of everything that's known in your life and you're not creating a future, the moment you wake up in the morning and you see the same people and you go to the same places and you do the exact same thing that you did yesterday, all of a sudden now, everything in your environment is influencing how you're thinking and feeling. Because you have a neurological network for your boss, for your partner, for your kids, for your home, for where you work, where you sleep. All the problems in your life are mapped neurologically in the brain. So your environment is made up of bodies, people, and objects, and things and places. And so when you begin to interact with your environment, it is your environment then that is controlling unconsciously how you're thinking and feeling. Here's the challenge, though. How you think and feel creates your life. That's the quantum model of reality. So if you're thinking equal to everything that's known in your life, then you're reaffirming the same reality because you're thinking in the same way and feeling in the same way. Now, every thought has a frequency. Every thought produces an energy. So we could say then, from a quantum perspective, you're thinking the same known thoughts the majority of the time that are producing the same frequencies. So then the same frequency is the same energy, and your life shouldn't change. And the only way your life can change is to change your energy. And nobody changes until they change their energy. So if your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel, and your personality creates your personal reality, then in order for you to create a new personal reality, a new life, you would have to change your personality. Yes or no? You would have to change the way you think, change the way you act, and change the way you feel. And most people in their lives are trying to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. And the repetition, doing the same exact routine every single day, thinking the same way, acting the same way, feeling the same way over and over again, by the time we're 35 years old, we go on autopilot. And 95% of who we are at that point is just a set of programs. And so the body then is dragging somebody into the predictable future based on what they did in the past. And imagine this. This has happened to all of us. You have a thought in your routine day that you're going to go do something. And that thought is going to lead to a choice, and the choice is going to lead to a behavior, and the behavior is going to lead to experience. The experience produces the payoff. The payoff is the feeling or the emotion, and all of a sudden, something happens where it doesn't work out, and you're not getting the feeling that reaffirms your identity. And most people replace it with a pretty uncomfortable feeling. They get angry, they get frustrated, they get impatient, they get disrespectful, because now the body is craving the feeling and they're not getting the feeling that they want. And they don't believe that they have any control over how they feel. Are you with me still? So then, if your personality creates your personal reality, and you're waking up every single morning and you're thinking the same way, acting the same way, and feeling the same way, and it's your environment, all the people and objects and things and places in your life that are controlling your thoughts and feelings, then we could say then your personal reality is creating your personality. And you're not thinking, acting, or feeling greater than your current known reality. And so then now we can say that a person is victim to the circumstances in their life, because they'll tell you it's that person or that thing that's making me think, feel, and act this way. But we say then that we create the world outside of us by the way we think and feel. So then the challenges and the problems in our lives are created from a certain level of consciousness or unconsciousness. Yes or no? And Einstein said, hey, you want to resolve that problem? You got to go to a greater level of consciousness than the consciousness that's created it. And that's evolution. Would you agree? So then, the problems and conditions that we have in our life, in order for us to be greater than those problems and conditions, we would have to be greater than the body to change, to be greater than the body, to be greater than our environment. That means don't let our environment, we no longer react and think in predictable ways. Our environment no longer controls our feelings and thoughts. And then in order for us to truly change, we couldn't live in the program of the predictable future or the familiar past. We would have to be in the present moment and stop all of those programs.